Hey, going to be talking about weight loss today. So if you're interested, then stay tuned. I'm waiting for my health coach, Chatela, to join. But if you have any questions about weight loss or how to maintain your weight for the purpose of health and wellness, then, put that question in. But this week I'm doing the 5 pound challenge. If you haven't done my 5 pound challenge, please go ahead and join my Facebook group. All you have to do is go to the link in my bio and it says 5 pound challenge and you can join. It's not too late. And we will, I think we're on day 2 of the 5 pound challenge, but the goal here is to help you lose 5 pounds in 5 days. But I take a much different approach than what you might be used to when we talk about weight gain. And most of that is because my approach to all things health is pretty much the same. All right, here goes Chatela. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what that approach is, how you can, leverage the knowledge of functional medicine and root cause medicine to optimize your weight and seeing what's going on. She asked to join and I did. So you can use that to optimize your weight and optimize your overall health. So as soon as she gets in here, we will get started. And the other thing I want to make sure, I'll say it now and I'll say it later, is that my program, the Black Women's Guide to Health, Hormones, and Longevity, is launching the last program of the year in next week, September 5th or 6th. And so, Chatela is unable to join. Try one more time. Yes, so the Black Women's Guide to Health, Hormones, and Longevity launches September 6th. And if you're interested in joining that, the link is also in my bio, or you can go to www.blkwomens, WOMANS, guide, GUIDE, blackwomensguide.com. So I think, there we go. I was about to say.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I told you I think it's my area. So I was just giving an introduction that we're going to talk about weight loss, and we're going to talk about our approach to weight loss and why it's different than what most people might think. So here's my question for you. So what is the prevailing thought on weight loss? Like, what do you think most people out there think they have to do to lose weight?
Calories in, calories out. I think that is like the biggest thing, that just as long as you are burning more calories than you're consuming, then you're going to be skinny. Then you're going to lose the weight. And it's literally just that simple. That if you can just kind of control your appetite, not eat the sweets, and keep your calorie count low, then you're all good. I think that's probably the biggest misconception or like thought when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about this is that I don't think that is really been supported in the science for decades, yet it still continues to be the thing that people say, and people are still worried about their calories. Now, I want to be clear that it's not that the calories, aren't important. It's just not how you lose weight, right? It's not focusing on ensuring you are working out enough to burn off calories. That's impossible. You're just not going to do it. I was listening to a friend of mine today. She was on Instagram and she was talking about the cookies that they sent her into the office and how one cookie was 600 calories. And she had made the comment that you'd have to run for like 400 miles to like work that cookie off. And you would. But even if you did that, if your hormones were unbalanced, if your stress levels are high, if you're not getting sleep, the weight's still going to stay on. If you're still being exposed to chemicals in your environment called obesogens, you're still going to have difficulty with weight. And most people know that empirically about their own lives. This is what's so shocking about it, is that there are people who are like, listen, I'm eating the same way that I've always eaten. I'm working out and the weight won't move, right? If it were just as simple as calories in and calories out and there were no other factors playing a role, then you should be able to lose weight at 50 the same way you lost weight at 14. But that's not what's happening. Um, so, so let's talk a little bit about how you actually do lose weight.
Well, the approach that we have is a very holistic approach, and just like you were saying, can you hear me?
There's a question. I can see you.
Oh,
I
is
was
there?
just looking. There's actually, yeah. So let's
Okay.
answer the question and then we'll get into it.
Okay.
So how do you get rid of cellulite or prevent them when losing weight? So that's a tricky. Well, it's tricky in the sense of like understanding what cellulite is, right? So part of the issue with cellulite is that when you've expanded your fat cells and then they shrink, right? Because so let's think about a couple of things. So fat, you can accumulate more fat cells or you can put more fat into the cells. And so the part of what you're doing when you're losing weight is you're actually burning the fat inside the cells and you're making the fat cells actually shrink. And so part of the issue with the cellulite is that you still have the same amount of skin, you still have that expansion, but you just have areas where you have indentations from where you have shrunk the fat cells. And so the best thing I usually tell people to do is really to do things that help to tone that skin and actually help you replace that fat tissue with muscle tissue. So oftentimes when we talk about weight loss, we talk about releasing fat. I don't really use the word weight loss that much as I use the word releasing fat. So you want your body to release the excess fat. You don't want to just lose weight because you could be losing muscle mass. You could be losing water weight. What we're really trying to do is get rid of those excess fat cells, and particularly when we talk about health-specific fat cells, usually around the midsection, that will improve your health. So, cellulite is there's not a miracle, there's definitely dermatologic procedures that can help tighten the skin. There's, things that you can do to optimize your skin elasticity, which has more to do with making sure you're eating the right appropriate nutrients and drinking lots of water and staying, having your muscles be toned by working out or lifting weights or building muscle mass. But, this idea that you can kind of just like rub a cream on and then that cellulite's going to go away is not the case. And I think this brings up a really good point about the approach to weight loss is that when you're thinking about weight loss for the sole purpose of just losing weight so that you can either get into a nice dress or, whatever the sort of superficial reasons that we might do it, those are still valid. But when you start thinking about weight loss from the standpoint of how can I make my body healthier, a lot of these things, these complications don't arise because you're really looking at the total body. So you are building muscle mass. You are working on things that help your skin nutrient-wise. So that's why we take that approach that we take, is that when you're looking at the whole picture, you're not just dealing with fat loss and loss of weight from muscle and from water weight, etc. So I hope that answers that question, but I thank the person for asking.
You see any more questions?
Nope.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When it comes to weight loss, what are your thoughts on like how important intermittent fasting is? Because for me, like, although I've never had to lose a significant amount of weight, I feel like I've always been intermittent fasting before I even knew it was a thing. Like, even as a young child, a teenager in high school, like, I'd look up and I'm like, oh, it's 2:00 and I haven't eaten yet. And then I might eat like a little small meal and then I'm done for the day. And that's how I've always eaten, but I think that it's contributed a lot to me being able to like maintain my shape with, even post babies. So what are your thoughts on how important that is in weight loss specifically?
So I totally agree that there are certain habits that if you develop them early in life, right, and you keep those certain habits, they actually help you ward off illness, right? And so I agree with you. I'm the same way. I've also been able to maintain my weight within a pretty narrow window. And this is what I'm always trying to tell people. It's not about you dieting. it's about you figuring out the behaviors
Yeah.
that you can incorporate into your life that you can consistently do over time that will help maintain your weight. So when it comes to something like intermittent fasting, so let me just back up. So intermittent fasting can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. One of the things I talk a lot about is time restricted eating. And this is the idea of reserving the time you eat to a specific window of time, right? This intermittent fasting could also look like eating every other day and skipping. It can look a lot of different ways. But my specific thing that I focus on, as far as a behavior that is sustainable, is time restricted eating. So that means you may fast for 12 hours of the day and then eat for 12 hours of the day within a 12-hour window. Or you can do fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. Now, the significance of this is not just about weight loss. And I know your question was, what do I think about it with weight loss? But again, I'm going to tie everything back to health, because if you really focus on how do you optimize your health, the weight can't stay on, right? That's sort of my tagline. So what is it about intermittent fasting that actually has an improvement on your health and then thereby allows you to lose weight? Well, it's this idea that we've been told over the last several years that if you eat all the day, right, like eat breakfast, have a snack, eat lunch, have a snack, eat dinner, have a snack. We even teach this to our kids, like they have to be eating all the time. The problem with this is insulin. Insulin is a hormone that when stimulated all day long, every single day, year after year, decade after decade, can become toxic to the body. So you may be familiar with the term insulin because it is the hormone that is most associated with diabetes. But you can have high insulin levels well before you develop diabetes, or never develop a diabetes but have high insulin levels. Insulin stores fat. So this is when I was telling people about this whole, telling you when I was saying calories in and calories out doesn't make any sense, is because there are always hormones that are around determining what happens to those calories you put in your body. And insulin is one of them. So insulin can take calories that come from carbohydrates, like, cookies or rice or bread, and it turns that carbohydrate into fat and it stores it in the fat cells. That's its job. So when you're eating all day long and insulin levels stay high all throughout the day, then you end up with gaining excess weight even when you're not trying. So what does intermittent fasting do, or time restricted eating? It gives your pancreas, which is the organ that releases insulin, it gives it a rest so that you're not secreting insulin all day long, so you're not storing fat all day long. So yes, so the quick answer to that is how does intermittent fasting contribute? That's one big way. The second way it helps is I think it helps to balance your cravings, right? So your body gets used to whatever you adapt to, right? Whatever you tell the body to do, it will do. So if you feed it every 3 hours, it's going to be hungry every 3 hours. So one of the things that time restricted feeding does, I love him. One of the things that time restricted feeding does is it teaches your body when to be hungry, right? And so if you're not hungry all day, that means you're not eating all day. And if we want to get back to this idea of calories in, calories out, then you are getting fewer calories. And so there is that part of the calorie counting that is valuable. If you're eating way too much, which most Americans are, then you're going to have a problem losing weight. So you really have to get your body used to eating at regular times and having some control over the calories that you're eating, but not by calorie counting, just by developing behavior changes that support healthy hormones and healthy intake. The other thing I will say about this is that I'm going to shift the gears just a bit. So the other thing about calories that I like to sort of dispel is that not every calorie is the same, right? So one of the reasons why calorie counting doesn't necessarily work is because that makes you assume that the calories that you get from cookies are the same as the calories you get from broccoli or from a salad. And they're just not. Because the calories that you can get from really refined carbohydrates, so that's a lot of the processed food that we're eating, those calories stimulate insulin And we talked about how insulin impacts fat storage. So it's really important to understand that if you are going to pay attention to your calories, you don't just pay attention to the number, you also pay attention to the quality of the calories that you're getting. And there are more than the other big reason this is important, and this is one of the things that I'm always trying to get people to understand, is that your body actually needs those nutrients to burn fat. You need magnesium, you need zinc, you need iron, you need all of the nutrients that come from plant-based foods to actually burn fat. So you want to make sure that you are limiting the types of calories that increase your insulin levels, and you are increasing the calories that oftentimes get missed. The first is going to be stress. So stress is another thing. It's really a hormone issue. So I talk about this all the time because, hormones play such a big role in our health. So the big issue with hormones is that there goes Chatela. The big thing about stress is that there's a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol stimulates insulin again. Cortisol also helps to store fat and release blood glucose. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Helps to release sugar into your blood, which raises insulin, and then you end up storing that glucose or that sugar as fat. So stress has a huge impact from a hormonal level. Also, stress, the hormones that get released because of stress also increases your cravings, and it increases your cravings for specific types of foods, like sugary foods that increase insulin. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is sleep. So sleep is another thing that impacts your hormones and thereby impacts your ability to lose weight. So people oftentimes don't recognize the impact of having a poor sleep schedule or have poor sleep habits and how that actually impacts your weight. So if you're interested in losing weight and if you're only paying attention to calories and you're not paying attention to your stress levels, if you're not paying attention to when you eat, you're not paying things that help you with weight loss. So yeah, so that's really for those, but otherwise it's just me and you. Any other thoughts?
No, so I don't know if you, I don't know if you like went into this when I dropped out, but also when I think about intermittent fasting too, I think of the aspect of it giving your body a chance to rest. Because a lot of the times when we're eating, especially when we're eating like standard American diet, we're eating highly inflammatory foods. So if you're constantly inflaming your body, then at least, at the very least that you do, if you don't change your diet, right, then at least giving yourself a larger gap in between your meals gives your body a chance to deal with that inflammation so it's not inflamed all the time, right? Your body isn't like putting out fires all the time. So that's also what I think of too, is that in that sense, it gives your body a chance to heal. So now when you add in like the proper foods and now you're eating whole foods and you're doing the intermittent fasting, then now your body can start like behaving optimally. So that's what I think about. Now, with that, how does all of this culminate in what we offer and the women that go through the program? Like, I guess, what was your idea and heart behind even wanting to create this program? And even though it's a weight loss program, knowing that it's so much more than that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll give a really quick story. So, my other job that I used to do before I did this entirely was as a hospitalist. I worked in the hospital taking care of really sick patients. And one of the things that happened during COVID was that, it became very evident of one of the things that I've been preaching for years, which was that if your body is not prepared to handle challenges, you will get sick. And that's what happened in COVID. And during COVID, so many people wanted to take a very natural approach to COVID. People are like, I don't want to get a vaccine. I don't want to do X, Y, or Z. And that was fine, except if you were already unhealthy, that boat had passed, right? And so one of the things that became very evident for me while I was in that process was that I knew that I had the tools to help women get to a place where if COVID, flares up again, way before it became, an issue. And so when I was in the hospital taking care of patients, the ones that I saw were the ones who were overweight, the ones who had diabetes, the ones who had chronic illness and chronic inflammation. Those weren't all the patients. Obviously, there are people who were relatively healthy who also got sick, but particularly who were like, hey, listen, I want to be healthy. I want to take care of my body. I want to age well. And I want to have my body be in a position to be able to withstand some of these challenges that may come, including infections, but not exclusive to infections, including chronic illnesses like diabetes or cancer. So you want to get your body to handle. So that's what the program does. It helps your body you the skill set that's required to maintain that health. And the side effect of that is weight loss. The side effect of that is coming off medications, chronic medications. The side effect of that is feeling better, looking better, moving better. So, and having more control over your health. And so that's what the program does. You just, if you're interested in losing weight, I say this is the way to go. And then you can figure out as you go through the program all.
Yeah. And even for like women who are not interested in losing weight, because I've had women like that before too, where it's like, actually, maybe I want to gain a little bit of weight, or I just generally feel unwell. I don't feel like myself. I just want to get back to being my old sense, self. It's really good for that as well, because what I like in working with the women is the awareness that comes from going through the program of not even or not only the food choices that they have been making, that they're making going forward, but of their behaviors. Right. Of knowing, I was really stressed and this was going on at work and I reached for that piece of cake, but I knew I was doing it because I was emotionally eating. And so I decided in that moment that I wasn't going to reach for the cake, that I was just going to take a breath, go for a walk, and then I felt better. And I didn't go for the cake. So it's a learning process, like I said, not only of your eating habits, but of your behaviors. And so what I love most about it is that it's not a diet. It's not, let me hop on this for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, lose some weight and then count my points and, whatever. And then I'll go back to doing exactly how I was. This is truly learning your body. It's learning, how does this food make me feel? And then what you talk a lot about from that point, it's a choice. Now you know how these eggs make you feel. You know how that cheese makes you feel. Now it's a choice of, well, do I want to feel like that or not? And so that's what makes it so much more impactful, as opposed to, oh, well, if I just cheat a little bit over here, then I can save up my points for over here.
Yeah.
It's much deeper than that. It's really taking the power back and saying, how do I want to feel? What foods do I need to give my body to perform optimally? And which foods are going to make me feel like I have brain fog and I can't think and I can't sleep and my body is achy and things like that. So that's what I love, and I love walking women through that process.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to join, come work with us. But we're launching soon, actually.
Yeah. So
next week,
September 6th. I keep forgetting the date. It's 6th, but September 6th.
Yeah.
And the link in my bio, you can go there and schedule a discovery call. I like to speak to every woman who wants to do the program. We talk about whether or not it's the right program, it's the right fit for you, and what options are available for you. And then, then we get started and we get to work. And we have a group going through right now. So it will be just a really great addition to have women start this next journey. It's the last one of the year. So we won't be doing another program until January. So if you're interested and if you've been following me and you've been wanting to do this process, go through this process, you're ready to take control of your health, you're ready to balance your hormones, you're ready to release excess fat, you're ready to decrease your medications, if you're ready for increased energy, less brain fog, if you're like, I'm done, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I need to do something now, I need to do something different, then there's no time like the present. It's ideal time to join. We finished the whole program before the holidays, and allows you to take that new knowledge into the holidays, right? So you can wait till January, but then you will have missed this opportunity to figure out how to move forward through the holidays. So I think it's really important that if you're interested, this is the best time. Kids are back in school, so all that. As a matter of fact, I am at a parent-teacher conference, so I'm going to go to that.
Okay.
But yes, link is in the bio. Link is in the bio, and we look forward to seeing you guys. All right, you guys.
Yeah,
Talk
and
to
if
you
y'all
later, Chatela.
have any questions, you can always reach out to either one of us, and we can answer questions. Especially me. If you have any questions, you can reach out, and I'm happy to answer anything.
I'm gonna put in the chat the website, so that if you're interested in the program, you can go ahead and do that. And if you are also interested in the 5-pound challenge, which is going on right now, you can also find that information in the link in my bio. So if you want to sort of ease your way in, we'd love to have you there too. So we're only on day 2, so you haven't missed that much. All right, talk to you later.
Yeah.
All right, lady.
All right, bye. The conference.